So, when you picture a cyber attack, what comes to mind? Probably some hacker in a dark room, furiously typing, trying to break through a super complex firewall, right? But what if the biggest threat isn't about smashing down the door at all? What if it's about getting politely invited right inside? Today, we're digging into how human resources departments have become the #1 entry point for one of the most effective attacks out there: social engineering. Let's just start with one number that basically tells the whole story: 82%. That's how many data breaches involve some kind of human factor. Think about that. This isn't just a small piece of the puzzle, it's practically the entire game now. The real battleground for cybersecurity isn't just in the code anymore, it's shifted to human psychology. And that really gets to the heart of it. Social engineering isn't about exploiting a technical glitch. Nope. It's about exploiting us, our very nature. Our trust, our desire to be helpful, our gut instinct to follow orders from the boss. Attackers have figured out that it is way, way easier to trick a person into giving up a password than it is to spend months trying to crack it. So you might be wondering, why the intense focus on HR? Well, it's because that department sits at the dead center of a perfect storm. It's this unique intersection of super valuable data, a ton of delegated authority, and a culture of service that, when you mix it all together, makes it an ideal and, honestly, often unprotected target for attackers. Let's break down what makes this storm so dangerous. First off, the sheer data density. We're talking a gold mine of personal info: bank details, tax IDs, home addresses, you name it. Then you've got delegated authority. A request that comes from HR, it's almost always seen as legit, no questions asked. Plus, there's their constant external contact. Getting an email from a stranger isn't weird for them. It's just another Tuesday with job applicants. And the final, critical piece, a culture of responsiveness. HR is built to help people, and to do it fast. Attackers know this, and they weaponize that helpfulness by creating a fake sense of panic. Okay, so we know why HR is such a juicy target. Now let's pull back the curtain and look at the attacker's playbook. And I want to be clear, this isn't random. It's a calculated, step-by-step process designed to turn an HR professional's greatest strengths into their biggest vulnerabilities. And pretty much every single social engineering attack follows this same four-step cycle. It all starts with reconnaissance. That's where they do their homework on your company, your people, your processes. Then they establish trust, usually by pretending to be someone you know and trust. Step 3 is the exploitation. That's the moment they make their move, asking for the wire transfer or the password reset. And finally, the exit, where they get what they came for and just disappear. All right, let's get into a classic tactic, one that's perfectly tailored for HR: recruitment phishing. Imagine you're an HR manager. You get this polished email from what looks like a fantastic candidate. They've attached their resume or maybe a link to their portfolio. But the second you click it, it's not a portfolio that opens. It's malware, silently installing itself in the background. Just like that, a core everyday task becomes a massive security breach. Now, from that kind of broad net attack, things can get incredibly specific and personal. This is what we call whale phishing, or more commonly, CEO fraud. This isn't a spammy email sent to 1,000 people. No, think of this as a laser-guided harpoon. The attacker does their research, they impersonate a top-level executive, and they target one specific person who has the power to do something big, like authorize a huge wire transfer. And this is exactly what that harpoon looks like in your inbox. Let's really analyze this. First, you've got that extreme urgency, ASAP. Then a totally plausible excuse for not being reachable: on a plane and can't talk. That's brilliant because it stops you from verifying the request. And it's all wrapped up in a direct order from the CEO. It is perfectly engineered to shut down your critical thinking and trigger an immediate yes, of course. Here's another really clever tactic: vendor pretexting. This is where an attacker pretends to be a trusted partner, maybe your payroll company or an IT consultant. And the difference between a real request and a fake one, it's all in the subtle details. A legit request is going to come through normal channels and follow the process you always use. The fake one, though, it shows up out of the blue, it's filled with that fake urgency. And this is the key: if you try to check on it through another channel, like calling their main office number, the person on the other end will resist or get defensive. That's the big tell. And the playbook just keeps expanding. Take benefits fraud. A criminal will impersonate one of your employees. Maybe they'll claim there's an emergency, and they'll say they need to update their direct deposit information right away. The goal is painfully simple. They want to reroute that employee's next paycheck directly into their own bank account. Okay, so that's the threat. And I know it can feel pretty overwhelming. But here's the crucial part: there is a powerful solution. And it's not just about buying more expensive software. It's about building something called a human firewall. And this is the most important mindset shift you can make. Good security training shouldn't be about making your team paranoid and suspicious of every single email. The real goal is to make them prepared. It's about giving them the knowledge and the confidence to spot those red flags and know exactly what to do when they see one. It's a strategy of empowerment, not fear. So how do you actually build this firewall? Well, it stands on 5 key pillars. First, you need rock-solid verification protocols. A simple rule, like any request for money, has to be confirmed with a live phone call to a known number. No exceptions. Next, clear data handling frameworks, so everyone knows the right way to manage sensitive info. Then you need role-specific awareness training, uses realistic examples your team will actually see in their daily work. This has to be combined with active collaboration with IT, making security a shared responsibility, not just the IT problem. And finally, you back all of this human training up with layered technical controls. That's the tech safety net for those rare times a person does make a mistake. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? For years, the industry has called people the weakest link in security, but that framing is completely fundamentally wrong. When your people are trained, when they're prepared and empowered, they are not your biggest liability. They become your single greatest security asset. They're your first, your fastest, and your most intelligent line of defense. So I'll leave you with this question to really think about. In today's world, what actually poses the greater risk to your organization? Is it an unpatched server that's locked away in a data center? Or is it one single, perfectly crafted, convincing email sent to the right person at exactly the right time? Answering that question honestly is the first real step toward building a defense that actually works.